Hello everyone, welcome back to In the Mood TV. I'm Josh, and today I have my game pickups for the month of April. So let's get started, okay? First off, I'm going to start off with the Wii games. If you're not familiar with the apps OfferUp or Let Go, I use them pretty consistently to find cheaper games. Games I haven't picked up lately, or sometimes you can find newer games, as well as a lot of older games. I've added a lot of games to my collection with the use of both those apps. And I recently found Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. It's for $10, and it also came with the amiibo. So this is one of those really good Wii games. There's not a whole lot of them, but it was one of the ones that I've been missing, and it has a pretty high rating. Apparently it's a lot like if you ever played Super Mario 3D World. There's certain games with just Toad, and I guess it's a little bit like that, but it's the whole game. It's just it's all Toad. I guess having Toad amiibo also gives you more quests unlocked or something like that. So I'm really glad to get the amiibo with this. And next up, I finally got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game has it received a 10 out of 10 on like almost everybody's review list. It's supposed to be one of the best Zelda games of the century, probably, if not one of the best ever, apparently. I haven't actually even started the game yet, and but I'm glad I got it. There's a lot of hype about it. It looks really, really fun. It looks basically, like I said when I first saw it, looks like Grand Theft Zelda. And I also picked it up with the Legend of Zelda 30th anniversary with 8-bit Link. So I picked up both of these on OfferUp for only $65, which is pretty good. So really glad to have these in my collection. I know there's a lot of hype about Legend of Zelda, so I can't wait to get into it. Alright, so now moving on to some of the other newer consoles that I have. The PS4. I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I played 1 and 2 when super excited about 2 when it came out. Bought it like very first day. Loved the entire series. I own, I think, all the ones that have came out so far. So I was really glad to add Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD collection to my list, or to my collection. This one comes with a limited edition Disney pen, and also it comes with Kingdom Hearts back cover, which is, if you played any of the HD collections, they have just a cinematic story with the other two games that are fully to play, and also for the first time you get to play Dream Drop Distance on a console rather than just on the 3DS. So I'm really glad I got this game, and also Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep with a little bit more enhanced, I guess, which is great. That was another handheld game on the PSP. Amazing game, but now I get to play it on console, which is just even better. So really great thing to add to my collection. Really excited about that. Next up is a game that I'm very glad to own, and I was very lucky to get for very, very cheap, and the limited edition of is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. It's not complete. I think I'm missing some stickers or something that came with it, but that's okay. But it came with the art book and the limited edition steel case. And I'm okay with missing stickers. I mean, for the price, I only got it for $20. So, I'm really glad I got it. It's supposed to be, apparently, Nathan Drake's final game, supposedly. So, it's supposed to be the end of the Uncharted series, or at least with Nathan Drake. So I'm glad I finally picked it up. I haven't actually played any of this yet. It looks amazing. Really huge fan of Naughty Dog ever since they did The Last of Us, which was amazing. But I can't wait to play it. I do own the Nathan Drake HD collection for the PS4, which is supposed to have a better combat system, so I can't wait to play that and then get to this eventually. Alright, so moving on to some of the newer age handheld, I recently got Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the 3DS. So I've actually never played Majora's Mask. I've actually never played most Legend of Zelda games. Since I've recently started collecting, I've had to, start that series from the very beginning, all the way from the original Legend of Zelda on the NES console, which I actually don't have. I just own the GameCube one. It's the only way I'll be able to play it unless I downloaded it. But anyway, and I got it with the Majora's Mask Skull Kid, so the limited edition Skull Kid figurine, which is really cool. He looks pretty awesome. So I'm glad I got these super cheap. I know there's this and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time that are a toss-up between the best games ever made for Legend of Zelda, I believe. That's generally the consensus, or maybe it's The Legend of Zelda on the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I'm very glad I own this one. I don't have it on the N64, but eventually I will get it. But I do own the GameCube Collector's Edition, which also has it on that. But I'm really glad I got it on the 3DS to go with the figurine, because I had bought the figurine separately at one point. Alright, so next up is a game I have, I didn't really have a lot of expectation for. I got it on the cheap for complete edition, or I believe this is the first print. So it came with the soundtrack. It's Lore of Magna, Maiden of Heaven. It looks like a turn-based strategy game, which I love, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, some of the more popular ones. It's an Xseed game, so I'm really excited about it. They do have some pretty good music involved in their games. It looks really fun, and I got it on the cheap, so I'm glad I added it to my collection. Recently, on one of my adventures to the swap meet, wasn't really looking for anything to buy in particular, but I came across a game that I know a lot of people talk about, and it's quite expensive if you can find it complete or even the disc alone, and that is Crimson Gem Saga for the PSP. It's a Atlas game, and I really don't know much about it. It's supposed to be a pretty good RPG for the PSP, and I don't own a lot of PSP games, specifically because generally I just go to swap meets, I go locally, so I don't really find a lot of them out in the wild. But when I do find them, I'm very glad that I do. So I'm glad I picked this up. I only paid like $10 for it, which is pretty good. It's in pretty good condition, so I'm glad I got it. It's not complete, but that's okay. I get to experience a great game for relatively good price. All right, the next game is a game that I've looked up recently, and I used to own a long time ago. And it's actually very expensive now if you can try and find it, and I believe that's because the DLC was canceled for it as to why it's more expensive now. Star Wars The Force Unleashed Ultimate Sith Edition. I believe I looked up, people are trying to sell this for around $50-$60 for a used copy, and brand new unopened copies up to like $300 for this game. It's pretty fun. The only thing different that I can tell from the DLC and the regular game is that you get the Ultimate Sith costume, and that's it. I believe just for the disc alone, people are trying to sell this around $30-$40, $50, $60 and upwards for complete. I bought my copy for $10, and I'm glad to have it back in my collection. It was a pretty good game. Would I spend that much on it? No, but if you can find it on the cheap, I do recommend buying it. Next is a game that a lot of people love the series for, and it was the very first start of the series before it became something different, and that is Demon's Souls for the PS3. This is a game that I have not yet played. I think on a long list of games that I've needed to play, this will be very low down on the list, not because it's not amazing, but because its rating and how difficult it is, and I've seen a lot of videos of people playing this game. It looks very It looks very frustrating. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think I'll play it for a very, very long time. And I also own Dark Souls, the very first one. I think it's going to be a while before I actually get to this game because I rage pretty hard on games. So yeah, I think it's going to be a while before I actually get around to playing this one. But I'm glad to own it in my collection. I only spent $5 at my local swap meet for it. So next up is a game that from the publisher of Atlas, and that is Lost Dimension. Now I don't know much about this game, and it looks pretty interesting. The reason I bought it is because it's an Atlas game, and it's toward the end of the PS3's life cycle. So I thought it's possible that it'll go up in value. I didn't pay too much for it. It was on clearance. I think I paid like $20 for it, which is pretty good. I did read that it has alternate endings, and they change through every gameplay, which is pretty unique in my opinion. So it's gonna be pretty crazy to play this game once I do get to it eventually. But yeah, I'm glad I picked that one up. It's also an Atlas title, so it might retain its value. I hope so, but if not, I mean, it looks pretty fun. This other game is kind of getting hard to find. In my opinion, it's going up a little bit in value online, it seems, and that is Azura's Wrath, and it's a Capcom game. So with certain Capcom games, it seems like whatever reason, they just dramatically increase in price, like a crazy amount. We saw that with Blood Will Tell. The game did horribly, and there weren't very many copies, and it turns out it's actually a really great game, and now it went from like $5 to what, like almost 100 plus now. So just to be cautious, I picked it up. It is supposed to be a pretty good game. It looks very interesting. It's very graphic, but I have no idea what it's about, and I can't wait to play it. It looks very Japanese, but with like mechs and stuff. I don't know. Looks pretty fun. Glad I picked it up. Only like $10. Alright, this next game, I own the first one, and so I had to pick up the second one, and that is Trails of Cold Steel 2 for the PS3. And I know they also made it on the Vita. I'm not sure if I wanted it on the Vita yet or not. I do like my RPGs if I can get them typically on the console. That's just, I don't know. I don't have a lot of expectations for this game because, but I had to buy it because I bought the very first one. However, I have not opened that. I have not played it. I'm very, 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 very far behind on my list of games to play. I'm collecting all the time, but not playing very many games. I don't know if that's a general collector's thing or what. But now I own both copies, so I'm happy about that. It's an Xseed game, which they generally make pretty cool games. I've never played something that I hated by them so far, so I'm glad I got the series complete now. Alright, this next game is a game I bought with a bunch of other games. I believe like 15, 20, somewhere around there, that I bought for about $2-3 a piece. And one of them was just the game itself, and that is Zoids Assault for the Xbox 360. This game is increasing in price, I believe. I'm not sure what the price is right now, but it's an Atlas game. It's a mech game. It looked like a lot of fun. A lot of these games I don't get to experience. I don't get to play too often. But I see, Atlas in the title, and sometimes with that they can be very, very expensive, especially on a console that was made for just the American audience. And you see that with a lot of kind of RPG, Japanese style. There's not a lot of RPGs on the Xbox 360 that are JRPGs. Like Lost Odyssey is one, Magna 2, Tales of Vesperia, there's another one that's really good. So there's not too many JRPGs that are exclusive to the Xbox 360. So you never know what's going to be very valuable. So I'm glad I picked it up for cheap. It's not complete, but you know, that's okay. Next is a game that another game for the Xbox 360. I didn't really have any expectation of what it would be like. I'm really bad with these games, and that's Dragon Ball Raging Blast. And with most Dragon Ball games, I tend to be really horrible at them. Usually they're just fighting type games, fighting based, but I seem to suck really bad at them. I remember playing Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi 2 and just getting my ass kicked by the AI on like easy difficulty. So, but I do like them. I do try to play on them, but I'm not very good at it. And I only picked it up at the swap meet for like $3, I think. So, alright, so the next game is a game that a lot of people talk about. It wasn't in the best condition, but I only paid, I think, $2 for it, and that is Bully for the Xbox 360 Scholarship Edition. Apparently it's like Grand Theft Auto, but with school kids. It's supposed to be really fun, and it's a Rockstar game, and I love them. And I can't wait for when they finally release Red Dead Redemption 2, if they ever do. I don't know much about the game, other than it's pretty fun, and it's quite expensive for the Scholarship Edition on the 360. If I believe it's like $20-30 upwards if you could find a complete edition. And I don't mind finding cases like this messed up, because it did come with the booklet and the game, because you can always just replace the case. You know, all you really need is the inlet. But yeah, I mean, for the price, it was pretty good for $2. Next up is another game for the Xbox 360. And when I was looking up for RPGs for the Xbox 360, this one came up every once in a while, and that is Blue Dragon. I don't know much about it, and I had no idea that the artwork was designed by the same guy who does Dragon Ball Z. He's very, very famous. I'm not sure of his name. Oh, it's right here, Hironobu Sakaguchi. You know, he's done Dragon Ball Z, he's done tons of anime. It's legendary, or he's legendary, not this game. But apparently it's also an anime, which I had no idea about. I just know that it's really it's a grind fest. It's supposed to be pretty good if you're into grinding on RPGs, if you're into the traditional style, apparently. So I only paid a few bucks for it, so I was glad to get it. And I think it's going up in price. I'm not 100% on that though. I think I paid $8. It's not complete. It's missing its booklet, but I'm glad I picked it up, because there's not a lot of RPGs, especially JRPGs for the Xbox 360 that I'm aware of. So I'm glad I own that one. Alright, so next up is a game called Remember Me. I don't really know much about the game. It was very cheap. I don't know, my philosophy is I've looked at Blood Will Tell, and that's not to say that every other game is kind of like that, but if it's a cheap Capcom game, in my opinion, that you should probably pick it up, because you never know. Like Blood Will Tell and I think Demon's Crest, I'm not sure if that game was very popular, but they've just skyrocketed in value. I haven't played this game, so I have no idea what to expect of it, but I bought it for like $5, and I think it's going for even less than that online. So if anything ever happens to it, you know, just like I had Kirby Superstar for the longest time, and it was only like $5 for a complete copy or a sealed copy or something like that. And then I think I checked, you know, and that was a few years ago, and now all of a sudden you check now and the prices are just, you know, tripled. So I guess you never really know what is going to happen to your games and how dramatically they're going to shift or something like that. So if you can pick up your games cheap enough, I think it's a really good idea. And if you enjoy that game, or if you enjoy the developers. Speaking of developers, Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle Earth 2. I hate that EA owns so many great franchises because usually they run them into the ground, and you know, harvest the nostalgia from their fans so they can sell their crappy games. But this game is actually supposed to be relatively good from what I know. I do love Lord of the Rings games. This is pretty much the only reason I bought this. I think I got it for about $10. It is complete, so I'm glad about that. And I do like RTS games, and I do enjoy RTS games, kind of like Command and Conquer, which is also owned by EA, StarCraft 2, StarCraft, games like that. They're really fun, they're really challenging, and I'm horrible at them online, but I do enjoy them. Alright, so last but not least is an old school, and that is PS2. One of these is from Digimon Rumble Arena 2. I got this off Craigslist for only $10. I have literally no idea why this game is valuable. It's just a beat 'em up arcade type Digimon game. I'm not sure if it is because it didn't do well and low print quality, so that's why it's more valuable. It's not complete. I'm missing the manual in the game, but that's alright. For $10, I mean, you can't really go wrong. I tried playing the game. I sucked really hard at it. Managed to beat the first level, but had no idea what I was doing. Yeah, not really. I wasn't really into Digimon. I was always into Pokemon, but yeah. I'm glad I bought this game for, you know, the value it was, or the price it was, I should say. So next up is a game that is a franchise that has been along for a long time. I think I saw a few episodes, but I never actually watched the anime completely. But I could pick these games up for a pretty low price, and they are all complete and they're in really good condition. And that is .hack Infection, .hack Mutation, and .hack Outbreak. And I believe I'm missing number 4, which I think is called .hack Quarantine. And that one is crazy expensive. I only paid $40 for all 3, which is pretty good. And they're all complete with the animes, the booklets. But number 4 is the most expensive. And I was looking at just eBay prices alone, and it was like around $130. I don't know if I'd ever pay that much for the game. I'm not a super fan of the game, the series, but I'm glad I own at least part of it, so I can enjoy it. This is supposed to be pretty good. I actually watched the anime and played a little bit of the very first one, and it seems pretty fun. It's just a normal JRPG from what I understand, but I'm glad I own all 3, and it'll help me. I think it'll start me to get back into the anime, the original anime, which will be pretty cool. I've missed out on a lot of anime. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. That's all I've picked up for the last month. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'd love to hear what's your favorite games you picked up, or what's the best deal you've ever had, or any of that. Please comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And once again, you guys, thank you so much for watching.